Welcome, one and all. Welcome back to a nice little moment of informal IT. And a lot of times I'm doing experiments in Bash or else PowerShell, command prompt. Or like today, I'll be talking about something not quite in that same realm. Now, this is just a page or a throwaway page, something that I did earlier. I'm going to be making some changes too. Nothing crazy, nothing major. But it'll help me get my thoughts in order. I think today's topic is going to be something in the realm of artificial intelligence. You see, I found this lady on YouTube. I believe her name is Makala or Makala. And right now it's still a little early in my thought process and what I actually believe can and can't happen, or what people are saying about AI and how to do things. I'm still trying to feel my way around that. I've seen a bunch of people talking about what you can do, but no actual tutorials or proof of concepts that explain it. Not unless they want you to actually sign up and buy into a subscription or buy into a class or a lecture. So this lady Michaela, she did something that's different. She actually started explaining about recursive AI. In short, what it is, what it's not. Other terms are confused with it. She actually gave you a very practical definition that for someone who actually may not always be logical, but does attempt to code, it makes a lot of sense, and I'll go over that. Meantime, let me try to get my thoughts in order here, and we'll see how this turns out. See how this looks. Let's have a look here. Yeah, that's a little bit better. But I kind of lost something here, so bear with me. I'm still trying to make sure that this works for me. So let's look over here. Recursive AI. Okay, we're looking into what it's not. And she was very succinct. She mentioned that it's not looping, it's not revision, and it's definitely not feedback. Apparently, a lot of people have been certain terms interchangeably, and we'll start working our way through that. Don't worry, I'll clean this up just to get my ideas in order. Now, you may wonder why some of these terms, like looping. So, what is looping? Context of artificial intelligence, it normally refers to situations where an AI agent repeatedly executes the same process or action without achieving any desired goal or an exiting sequence. So basically, you can go into a circular logic, which may not even be logic. It may just be a numeric sequence that just keeps going over and over and over. Kind of like an equation where x equals 0. Well, if x equals 0, 0 equals x. Well, if 0 equals x, then x equals 0, and going over and over again with no way to stop. It's something like that. But we can also look into other things, and we'll move into that. Then we gotta look into revision, and for that, that gets a little more interesting. In that context, it refers to a process of reviewing and modifying and improving an AI generated text or content. Uh, think about it like you want to enhance its quality, clarity, or accuracy, or just make it more coherent. Revision can basically be performed by either humans or AI powered tools or some kind of combination of them. Uh, and that is where it can also be considered. It goes into like a feedback driven manner or some kind of iteration. Key aspects of revision in AI can include something like correcting grammatical errors or improving coherence or readability, adapting the content for an intended context or audience. Think about it like fact checking or adding a human touch to increase engagement and authenticity. So there's that. And what else? Oh yeah, feedback. Sorry, I kind of like went off the reservation for a moment there. And as far as feedback goes, it kind of refers to the evaluation and information provided to an AI system. Think about the quality or effectiveness of the output. If you think about it, whatever that output is, it can actually be used by the system to improve itself. So this process could be central to what could be called a feedback loop, enabling continuous learning and performance and enhancement. That can get a little out there. We can look into some key points. What exactly? You can go from various sources. You can look at feedback from users, monitoring systems, domain experts, or other real-world outcomes. Uh, think about it. You have a chatbot that might receive direct user input, indicating it's like, okay, I like this. This was helpful, and or I didn't like the recommendation. And spot on. You can think about it like this: like you get that information, and then create a loop where it's okay. It didn't like this. Why didn't it like this? What can we do in order to fix this? Okay, now we did this. Get the feedback. Did you like this? Yes. Did you like this? No. Why didn't you like it? Why did you like it? What can we do to improve it? What can we do to keep, what do we keep? All these things are not actually recursive AI. They are other things to think about. And trust me, there's different terms and phrases where these things go in and you can chain these things together and get very confusing. It looks a little better, but it looks like I'm also repeating myself. Let's fix that. Okay. Yeah, looping. Okay, I got the reference. I got an example. Talk about revision. I got key aspects of revision here. And then don't worry, I'll put down my rant or my ravings on feedback and then I'll get back on the topic of recursive. It's just I was trying to cover most of the stuff of what it's not so that way we can actually focus on what it is and then we'll be there. I think this will cover at least the bulk of what I was talking about on the feedback topic. Let's see. Okay, the AI feedback loop, we got the mechanism, we have the purpose, and then that's pretty much on the three things that recursive AI is not. But now we're going to move into what it is and what it means. So now we get to the point. Recursive AI, what it is. It's a function that calls itself structurally, or at least that's how Makala explains it, and that does make some kind of sense. If we look at it a little bit further, recursion, and what it means is a function that runs by calling itself. Think of it as when you're writing code and you're nesting your functions within each other. But instead of creating one subroutine that calls onto another subroutine and another subroutine, and they're similar, and you're just daisy chaining them along, this thing is basically kind of like not teleporting, but it's a function that's calling upon itself. It's like X is calling upon X. XX is calling upon X to equal XX, which is equal to X. It's kind of confusing. It's kind of like 0 equals 0. It's kind of like you have something and you have nothing all at the same time, but for some reason it kind of works. Bear with me. Like I said, I'm not professionally a programmer, and when I code, I do go off the reservation a little bit. I do tend to get to where I need to get to eventually. So this, the way it was explained, kind of makes sense to me. You could probably look her up on YouTube. She's only got a few hundred people so far that are actually listening to her, and she does make some kind of sense, and she's interesting. Uh, and then from there, we're gonna just jump into a couple other things, pretty much terms that are confused for recursive AI, and with that, there's iteration, prompt chaining, output refinement, and reflection. Now, from there, we can dive into a few other things. It's like terms where recursive is used incorrectly. Like when they say recursive prompts, they mean iterative prompt chaining. That is a mouthful. Quite honestly, I'm going to have to Google the explanation and the definitions because each of the words you want a definition and then you want an explanation as to where they're getting this from. There's recursive reasoning, and they mean iterative self-correction, simulative self-correction. That is similar to like kind of like the feedback loop portion of things. At least that's how I'm understanding. And then they got this one called recursive intelligence. And at this point, I think they're just making stuff up. For now, I mean, down the road, recursive intelligence might actually be a thing. But I have not. I did a little bit of checking, and I don't think I have anything concrete as to why they're linking those two words together at this time. Why this is important, and this is the rub. Using the terminology incorrectly will affect what you're trying to build. Whether you're programming or you're a prompt engineer where you're using AI to build other AI applications or bots, it's important to know what terminology you're using and what you really want in order to get the AI model to actually help you along that path. And the second portion is like recursion builds upon itself, kind of like by nesting its function calls. I did mention nesting functions or subroutines calling upon themselves. This is kind of where it's going. Before it gets a little bit too crazy, I will put this up on the page and hopefully it will make sense. I'm going to go to sleep later on, and in the morning I'll look at it again, and if I'm too embarrassed, it won't see the light of day. If it makes sense, I'll put it up. I pretty much don't want to build a web page in general for all this stuff. I'm just doing it like this because it's kind of cool, but the graphics, they're not mine. I'm just playing here, and some of them are royalty free, some may or may not be. If I find out who these artists are, I will give attribution and I will point you to their websites if you like that sort of stuff. If I make the graphics myself, hey, I will brag like you will not believe. Uh, in the meantime, here we go. And one more. And yeah, look at that. Now isn't that pretty? I covered pretty much everything that I was trying to think about. I will ignore that YouTube video link for now since I don't have the link to Makala's recursive AI speech. But quite honestly, I think she's onto something. Everybody have a good night.